China's tofu dregs buildings exposed in Typhoon Yagi, with more than 100 casualties. Yagi swept away the balcony windows, and a photo of a Hainan girl sitting on an 18th floor balcony went viral. The global technology supply chain has entered the second stage of withdrawal from China. Typhoon Yagi, the 11th typhoon this year, made landfall in Wenchang, Hainan, on the afternoon of September 6th, becoming the second strongest typhoon to hit China since the founding of the Communist Party of China 75 years ago. It hit Hainan hard, and officials reported more than 100 casualties. Typhoon Yagi exposed the tofu dregs buildings in China. According to videos, many balconies and windowsills of residential buildings were completely swept away, and windows shattered. The scene was horrifying. Many mainland netizens left comments, cursing and pointing out that the typhoon had become a mirror for shoddy construction projects. Typhoon Yagi, the second strongest typhoon since the founding of the Communist Party, also exposed shoddy buildings. According to numerous videos on the X platform, after Typhoon Yagi landed on Hainan Island on the 6th, the storm not only caused heavy casualties, but also destroyed many residential high-rise buildings. Items such as balconies, windows, and iron railings were blown away, glass shattered, and even some residents' furniture disappeared. Some houses even lost their walls, roofs, and doors. People were terrified, screaming and clinging to walls to avoid being blown away by the storm. Wherever the storm went, chaos followed, with horrifying scenes everywhere. Many netizens commented that this typhoon was like a magic mirror, exposing China's tofu projects. Some mocked, "What's the point of quickly building paper-thin high-rises? Cutting corners has become the pride of the Chinese people." Others added, "It's not that Yagi is so strong, but that the houses built by animals are too weak." The CCP allocated a total of 200 million yuan in disaster relief to Hainan and Guangdong provinces, which was met with ridicule from netizens. Xinhua news agency reported that on the 7th, China's National Development and Reform Commission issued a statement announcing, "The National Development and Reform Commission urgently allocated 200 million yuan, about $28 million US, from the central budget to support the emergency recovery in Hainan and Guangdong, focusing on the reconstruction of damaged roads, bridges, water conservancy embankments, schools, hospitals, and other infrastructure and public facilities in the disaster area to restore normal production and living conditions as soon as possible." In response, netizen Irma G remarked, "Tens of thousands of people have lost their homes, farmland has been destroyed, and lives are in jeopardy. Yet the central government only allocated 200 million yuan for post-disaster recovery. This insignificant amount is an insult compared to the actual needs. The central government's aid to Africa reaches as high as 360 billion yuan. Some netizens mocked, "200 million is just like throwing a few coins to beggars." Another said, "You are the leeks of the human field, to be exploited and harvested. Now we have to spend money to help you with disaster recovery, so bow down and be grateful. The 200 million budget will probably amount to just 2 yuan per person in Hainan. We gave 360 billion yuan to Africa, but only 200 million yuan for the typhoon disaster in Hainan and Guangdong. Is this how humans behave? This is inhumane." Typhoon Yagi blew off, many wind turbines costing tens of millions. According to First Financial News, Typhoon Yagi damaged many wind turbines in a wind farm along the coast of Mulan Bay, in Wenchang, Hainan. A person in the wind power industry stated that the total cost of a 6.25 megawatt typhoon-resistant wind turbine exceeds 10 million yuan. According to a representative from Hainan company of Huaneng Group, around 5 or 6 wind turbines were broken by the typhoon. The project is still under expansion and has not yet generated electricity. A mainland netizen commented, "Haiku Wenchang is really unlucky. They just replaced the smaller units with 6.25 megawatt ones, and the 1.5 megawatt turbines were basically blown off. The components inside the ones that survived are probably unusable. What a pity." Another added, "The instantaneous wind speed of Typhoon Yagi reached 83.2 meters per second, which is far beyond the design limits of current wind turbines. The destructive power is terrifying." They also noted, "Although there are typhoons every year, this is the only one that has really affected wind turbines." Yagi swept away the balcony windows, and a photo of a Hainan girl sitting on an 18th floor balcony went viral. Recently, a photo of a Hainan girl sitting on a frameless balcony went viral on the internet, attracting widespread attention. At 16:20 on September 6th, Typhoon Yagi made landfall in Wenchang, Hainan. When it hit, the maximum wind force near the center was over level 17, 62 meters per second. The area experienced violent storms and heavy rain, with incredible power. In an instant, many glass doors and windows of high-rise balconies were blown off, creating hazards everywhere. One girl living on the 18th floor moved a chair to sit on the balcony and gaze into the distance, even though the windows and guardrails of the balcony had been blown away. This photo quickly went viral on the internet. On September 8th, the person involved, Xi'an, told Upstream News, "It happened at my home. I am just a junior high school student, living on the 18th floor. It occurred around 6 p.m. on September 6th. The wind was very strong at the time, and the entire building was shaking. The balcony frame of the master bedroom was blown away." After the typhoon, Xiaoqian's mother posted a video titled, "Balcony Escaped in the Typhoon" on social media, saying, "I didn't expect this photo to become so popular. The picture shows my daughter, and the video captures clips of the balcony flying away." The uploaded video shows that Xiaoqian's master bedroom balcony was originally equipped with anti-theft nets and windows. As the wind grew stronger, the balcony windows and guardrails were eventually blown away. On September 7th, Xiaoqian moved a reclining chair to sit on the balcony to rest, and her mother took a photo of her. Xiaoqian said, "I was sitting on the master bedroom balcony, and my mother was on the living room balcony, so she took the picture. The two balconies were on the same side, and posted it on WeChat Moments. I didn't expect it to go viral." Xiaoqian added that not only her family but also her neighbors suffered heavy losses. Although the windows of the apartments upstairs and downstairs remained, the glass was also shattered. Now, they need to contact someone to redecorate. Xiaoqian told the Beijing News that the typhoon was very strong at the time, and her whole family took shelter in the south-facing room. Regarding her calm appearance while sitting on the balcony, Xiaoqian admitted that she was very worried and scared when the typhoon hit. "At the time, we moved everything to the south-facing room. But the most terrifying moments had already passed. As long as everyone was safe, I felt relatively calm afterward." Mainland netizens commented, "It's so scary. That's too dangerous. Why do I feel she's sitting there in harm's way? It's the 18th floor. My legs started shaking just looking at the photo. I think it's better not to use large areas of glass to enclose balconies. It's okay to lose a few floors, but hers is completely gone." The global technology supply chain has entered the second stage of withdrawal from China. Multinational technology companies continue to withdraw from China. In addition to geopolitical factors, such as rising tensions between the United States and China, other key reasons include the Chinese Communist Party's increasing control over society and businesses, and the continued downturn of the Chinese economy. According to a recent report from S&P, the global technology supply chain's exit from China is ongoing and has now entered an irreversible second stage. This conclusion was presented in the latest market analysis report by Clifford Kurtz, chief credit analyst at S&P. The report states that downstream electronic manufacturing service EMS companies such as Foxconn, a subsidiary of Hon Hai, began shifting their investments from China to countries like Vietnam and India during the first stage of this withdrawal, which is considered largely completed. In the second stage, technology companies are moving their midstream production capacity away from China. This involves relocating intermediate processes, such as the production and assembly of core components. Since this requires substantial investment in factories and equipment, reversing these moves will be difficult once completed. Nevertheless, technology companies remain committed to their exit from China. The report highlights that to mitigate geopolitical risks and avoid potential disruptions to key supply chains, punitive tariffs, or other issues related to U.S.-China tensions, many tech companies are opting for a geographically more dispersed production layout. It is projected that between 2024 and 2026, suppliers of technology hardware, such as passive components, power electronics, motors, connectors, sensors, printed circuit boards, and outsourced semiconductor assembly and testing services, may accelerate their investments in production facilities outside China. The fixed asset exposure of 14 midstream technology companies, tracked by S&P, has already decreased from a peak of 30% in 2021 to 26% in 2023. Over half of these companies' new investments in the past 2 years have been directed toward regions such as the Americas, the European Union, and parts of Asia, including Taiwan, Thailand, Malaysia, and India. S&P concludes that this is just the beginning. Capital expenditure plans disclosed by major technology hardware companies for 2024 suggest that the trend toward supply chain diversification will continue. Closure of over 1 million bathhouses. Wenzhou foreign trade factories unable to pay wages.
The government has no more fiscal resources. The wealthiest regions in the Yangtze River Delta and Pearl River Delta are running out of money. Over 1 million bathing centers have gone silent, and Wenzhou's foreign trade factories can't afford to pay wages. New energy headquarters are overgrown with weeds, and recent graduates with master's degrees struggle to find jobs. Public servants and teachers face widespread salary cuts and layoffs. In 2024, China's minimum wage standard is 1,580 yuan, with a total social debt exceeding 65 trillion yuan, more than 5 times the entire Chinese GDP. Let me tell you a cruel truth about Wenzhou now. You might find it hard to believe that many Wenzhou residents, especially business owners, are living in extremely difficult conditions. Unlike previous years, when factories were busiest at this time, it's like filling bags with money at the end of the year. This year is different. It's not because there are no orders, it's because many factories dare not take orders. In our current shoe business, we might have to wait for 3 months or even more exaggeratedly, 6 months to receive payment. Before the Chinese New Year, we can't get the money, but we still have to pay our workers' salaries, settle payments to suppliers, and cover production costs. If we don't pay utilities, the landlord will immediately cut them off, and if we don't pay rent, we'll be evicted. So, it's really tough. We can't take big orders now, and even small orders are risky because of the poor market conditions. If we encounter a customer who disappears without paying, we would end up working for nothing in a year. That's why moving forward feels like stepping into an abyss, and stepping back feels like facing a cliff. It's really challenging. I went for 3 job interviews yesterday, and oh my, I couldn't believe how low their salaries were. It felt like a violation of labor laws. The first interview was at Lukin Coffee, and I had asked in advance through WeChat. Lukin Coffee pays 8 yuan per hour for the first 15 days. Is there anyone paid lower than us in this area? It's 8 yuan per hour for the first 15 days. Then, if you pass the barista certification, it's 15 yuan per hour. If you don't pass, it's 12 yuan per hour. In simple terms, I asked in the store, and it's around 2,000 yuan for the first month, 2,700 yuan for the second month, and from the third month onwards, it's a basic salary plus performance pay. I considered it for a moment and went for the interview. The next job was at a convenience store. For convenience stores, they calculate the pay by day. It's 60 yuan for a day's work, and how long is a shift? 9 hours. Also, the morning shift starts at 7 a.m. I haven't woken up at 7 a.m. since I was preparing for the postgraduate entrance exam. Now, just for 60 yuan, I have to start work at 7 a.m., which means I have to wake wake up at 6 a.m. I can't believe how crazy this is. It's really tough to run a fish market, extremely challenging. There's no business at the fish market. We don't want to just stay flat, and we don't want to lie down and win either. But we can't get it rolling. Look, there's not a single customer. Can I go out on the street to attract people? You see, running a fish market is truly not easy. The government lacks an alternative fiscal option. Even in affluent regions like the Yangtze River Delta and the Pearl River Delta, many government officials complain about the lack of funds, unable to pay salaries. You can imagine the situation. In places like Xi'an and Nanhai in the Pearl River Delta, including the Jiangsu-Zhejiang region, they are unable to pay salaries. Civil servants are facing pay cuts, and teachers are dealing with salary reductions and subsidies. What's the reason behind all this? The inability to achieve an 8-hour workday in 5 days, despite being a violation of labor laws, continues with constant overtime. The reason is simple: a significant portion of employment in China relies on low-end manufacturing industries with extremely low basic salaries ranging from 1580 yuan to 2580 yuan. Considering the expenses of buying a car, a house, supporting a family, and even affording meals, many people choose voluntary overtime as they dare not offend these companies. The simple reason is that the high-end sector hasn't fully developed, lacking pricing power. It's unable to rely on technology or patents to make money. Faced with the choice between two evils, companies are forced to continue providing employment opportunities without hiring additional staff. These companies depend on squeezing surplus labor and value to generate profits. If the situation were to be properly regulated, these companies might not even have profits, and they might relocate to areas with higher profits, attracting even lower wage workers. This is why China's touted demographic dividend is based on the availability of cheap labor. A master's graduate in liberal arts criticized low salaries at job fairs, with an average wage of only 4,000 yuan. This became a trending topic on Chinese social media. Some people were angry, considering it a waste of talent for graduates from top universities to earn the same as security guards. Others argued that these students were too picky and unwilling to endure hardships. To discuss things objectively, China has around 50 million companies, with only about 5,000 listed companies. After excluding a few 100,000 state-owned enterprises, the remaining 99% are small and medium-sized enterprises, providing 80% of employment opportunities. Most of these SMEs have low technical barriers, so they don't require high academic qualifications and can't afford high salaries. They seek individuals who are inexpensive, reliable, and willing to work hard. For young people, a fresh graduate's monthly salary of 6,000 yuan to 7,000 yuan is considered reasonable for a white-collar position. Having a bachelor's degree is a plus, but even without a college diploma, it's acceptable. So, aiming for high wages at offline job fairs is the wrong approach. Additionally, even in large companies, not all positions offer high salaries. In any industry, regardless of company size or job position, there are generally 4 categories: technical, functional, business, and support. From the average perspective, technical roles are lucrative, with high entry barriers and high salaries. Functional roles are the least cost-effective, with high entry barriers and low salaries. Business roles have low entry barriers but high salaries, and successful individuals often emerge from this category. The final category, support services, has low entry barriers and low salaries but is the easiest. So, individuals should assess their job types to determine their direction for higher wages. Even if you join a large company and work in a core technical or business position with a high salary, most people won't make it to the management level. Therefore, by the age of 35, the salary ceiling is around 10,000 yuan to 20,000 yuan per month. Only industries like finance, the internet, and high-tech can break through this salary limit. This outlines the earning path for a wage earner. As a wage earner in China, even if you have a stable and respectable job within the system, the earnings remain similar. In lower-tier cities, the monthly salary for units on the outskirts is around 5,000 yuan. For top-tier cities, popular units don't exceed 20,000 yuan. Looking ahead to 2024, it's essential not to deceive yourself into thinking tomorrow, the day after, or next year will be better. New growth points are still far away. This is not pessimism, but a call to face reality. For private entrepreneurs seeking improvement in the coming year, it's crucial to understand what happened in the past, how it was resolved, how much time it took, and how much capability is needed. Evaluate whether next year will be better or worse with a pragmatic attitude. The economy will face a relatively challenging period in the next 5 years. This is a rational analysis because the current total social debt is several times China's GDP, and solving the issue of social debt won't happen within 5 years.